Since it is based on GPT-3, ChatGPT-4 is able to have intelligent conversations with users on a wide range of topics and inherits many of its features. But what if we told you that it has now surpassed all that ChatGPT-3 had to offer its users? With its recent release, OpenAI's GPT-4 AI model is already powering a variety of applications, from a language learning bot on Duolingo to a virtual volunteer for the site Handicapped. But there's so much more about its insanely advanced technology that you should be aware of. Let's get into it, shall we? If you haven't used ChatGPT yet, it's an artificially intelligent chatbot and text generator that you can have a conversation with. It functions similarly to a search engine, yet it can additionally help with writing and making recommendations, as well as answer questions about general knowledge and solve mathematical problems. That said, GPT-4, a strong new artificial intelligence model that can understand both images and text, was just launched by OpenAI not too long ago. The company describes this model as the latest milestone in its endeavor to scale up deep learning. However, GPT-4 is currently accessible to paid customers of OpenAI via ChatGPT Plus with a used cap, or users can sign up for a waitlist to gain access to the API. As it turns out, GPT-4 has been skulking around right under our noses this whole time, where today, Microsoft verified that their chatbot technology, Bing Chat, which was created in collaboration with OpenAI, is running on GPT-4. Seems like all of our tech dreams are coming true all at once. It's also been discovered, according to various reports, that the new ChatGPT-4 is already a part of Microsoft's Bing search tool, and that it's been a part of the utility ever since Microsoft introduced it 1 month ago. As a result, it will take the place of the GPT 3.5 model that is already in use everywhere else. Not to mention the fact that ChatGPT-4 is a significant release. Up until now, the only way you could engage with ChatGPT was by inputting text, but that will now change with the release of ChatGPT-4. The output will continue to be in the form of text, which can be read out loud. However, as part of its upcoming virtual volunteer tool, OpenAI claims that it will deploy the feature with only one partner for the time being, the fantastic Be My Eyes app, which is designed specifically for persons who are visually impaired. Where GPT 3.5, its predecessor, could only accept the text as an input. However, GPT-4 can create text and accept both image and text inputs. It also performs at a human level on a variety of professional and academic benchmarks. For instance, GPT-4 can pass a mock bar examination with a score that falls within the top 10% of all test takers. In contrast, GPT 3.5 score fell inside the worst 10% of all test takers. So there's that. According to OpenAI, GPT-4 has already achieved the best ever results on factuality, steerability, and refusing to go outside of guardrails after being iteratively aligned for a period of 6 months using lessons from an internal adversarial testing program as well as ChatGPT. GPT-4, like previous iterations of the GPT model, was trained with data that is freely accessible to the public, such as those found on publicly accessible websites, in addition to data that OpenAI has licensed. On the other hand, OpenAI and Microsoft collaborated to build a supercomputer in the cloud platform Azure from the ground up, which was then utilized for the training of GPT-4. You see, it is quite undeniable that the capacity of GPT-4 to comprehend visuals in addition to the text is one of the more fascinating characteristics of this technology, making it stand out all the more. Not to forget, GPT-4 is capable of captioning and even interpreting photos that are relatively complicated. For example, it can recognize a connector cable converter from a picture of a smartphone that is plugged in. For now, the power of interpreting images is not yet available to all of OpenAI's clients, since the company is currently testing it with a single partner, Be My Eyes, or the new virtual volunteer component of Be My Eyes, which is powered by GPT-4, may provide answers to inquiries regarding photos that are supplied to it. Then again, the steerability tooling that we have already discussed has the potential to be a more significant enhancement brought by GPT-4. So with the release of GPT-4, OpenAI will be offering new functionality for its API called System Messages. These messages will, of course, then make it possible for developers to prescribe a certain style and task by describing particular directions. System messages, which will also be added to ChatGPT in the future, are essentially instructions that set the tone and provide boundaries for the AI's subsequent interactions. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about the key changes between the chatbot you're already familiar with and its significantly enhanced replacement. To begin with, the fact that this adaptable machine learning system is now multimodal, that is to say, it can comprehend more than one modality of information, and of course, this is the modification that stands out the most to the naked eye. In comparison, ChatGPT and GPT-3 were only able to process text. Users could read and write, but that was about it. Additionally, GPT-4 can be provided with photos, as already discussed, which it will process to locate information that is relevant. Of course, you could just ask it to describe what's in an image, but the more significant point is that its comprehension goes beyond that. That's because if the user asks the GPT-4 the appropriate questions, it can answer questions such as describe the pattern on a dress, identify a plant, explain how to get to a certain machine at the gym, translate a label and offer a recipe, read a map, and perform several other tasks that demonstrate that it understands what is contained in an image. Thirdly, compared to GPT 3.5, GPT-4 integrates steerability more natively, and users will have the ability to modify the traditional ChatGPT personality with a fixed verbosity, tone, and style to something that is better suited to their requirements. When it comes down to it, all you were doing was providing feedback to the default GPT 3.5 personality. Today, developers will have the ability to bake in a perspective, conversational style, tone, or interaction approach from the very beginning of the development process. Most importantly, GPT-4 has a more extensive memory. When these large language models are trained on millions of web pages, books, and other forms of text data, they are able to keep a certain amount of information in mind. This limit was set at 4,096 tokens when using GPT 3.5 and the older version of ChatGPT. This is equivalent to around 8,000 words, or approximately 4 to 5 pages of a book. So after objects had gone that far back in their attention function, it would sort of lose track of them. Now, if you're curious about the significance of the latest AI's ability, well, the maximum number of tokens that can be used in GPT-4 is the value that surpasses that of GPT-3. This simply means that it can retain up to approximately 64,000 words of text or 50 pages, which is sufficient for a full play or short story. Ultimately, GPT-4 will be able to store approximately 50 pages in its memory at any given time, whether it is engaged in conversation or generating writing. So it will remember what you talked about 20 pages back in the conversation, or while writing a novel or essay, it may allude to events that took place 35 pages ago. Yet the overarching concept is one of extended memory and the capabilities that come with it. The explanation that was just given is a very rough approximation of how the attention mechanism and token count operate, so you will only know after you've gotten a taste of it. But where all of that is really great, and we should hype the latest ChatGPT edition, let's not forget that GPT-4 is still flawed with the defect of hallucination. Due to the lack of knowledge about what constitutes fact or fiction, these systems may produce wholly fabricated writing. In certain cases, when requested the URLs of websites detailing the most recent cancer research, it returned a bogus set of numbers and letters. So yeah, that's still happening.